Darkness is all around us. It welcomes us. It invites us in. But through the darkness, light has come to expose it. To save us from darkness, so that we may see. Light is love. Light is truth. Light is life. Do you live in the light? Or do you dwell in the dark? Glow where the dark meets the light. This is Growth Group Unplugged. Welcome, everybody to Growth Group Unplugged for this Tuesday, in August 23rd, 2022. It's good to be back with you on tonight. Good to see everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. We have had some extreme technical difficulties the past few weeks on my part, but I'm back with you on tonight. We had some difficulties again tonight, but we're gonna rock it how it goes. Without further delay, we're going to bring the council in with our special guest on tonight, and we're going to get this topic started. Council, what's good? What's up, everybody?
What's up, family?
All right. Go ahead and let's do roll call.
It's Taylor.
For all our listeners, those who are not watching, but those who are listening, top left, we got Taylor. In the building. Bottom left, we got Travian, Mr. Travian, in the bottom left. Bottom center, that's inside joke, y'all. Bottom middle, we got my guy, my brother, from another, Sonny P, in the building.
Yo.
And then bottom right, we got Kiki.
Hey.
And a special guest on tonight, we have Kristen, top right.
Hey.
How's everybody doing, man?
Good.
Pretty good.
Good. All right, so tonight's topic, man. Sonny, I've heard several people talk about recently about church and preachers. So first, I want to preface it with, before I even give the topic, I want to preface it with this. Man, what is going on with preachers? I've seen so many clips on Church Milk, on just different platforms about preachers just getting in the pulpit saying any and everything. And I think that has struck a nerve. Truth be told, it struck a nerve with churchgoers, with Christians, with people, even those that grew up in the church that have since walked away from the organizational structure or the systemic nature of church, right? I think that it's because of things. It's because of foolishness. Can we just call it what it is? It's because of foolishness. And so because of that, people are kind of navigating this space on their own. They're trying to find their own way through this journey, right? And so we've lost trust in the man of God. Thereby, I've been asked, or a statement has been made to me recently, why do I have to go to church to pay for a sermon? When I can study the Bible myself, the same Bible that the preacher studies, why can't I just study it for myself and not have to go to church and give my money that I work hard for? It's in essence like I'm paying for a sermon. So let's talk about that a little bit for a few minutes on tonight. And if y'all have any questions, those that are listening, go ahead and once again, like, share, subscribe, hit the like button, tag somebody if you're on Facebook, tell them that Growth Group Unplugged is on deck. I'm back on tonight. I'm excited to be back with you. We fought hard to get here. but we here. So let's talk. Let's get our introductory remarks. Taylor, you got the mic.
Um, I think it's twofold, right? Maybe I'm saying that wrong. Anyway, you're not going to church and paying for a sermon, right? You're going to church to hear the word of God, period. If you don't have it to give, don't think that you're always obligated to give. A tithe is your gift to God, right? And so a tithe is not necessarily always money or financial sums either. It's time. It's your 10% of whatever you can give in that time to Him. We tie it to money, sure, but if that's not your ability right now, don't feel like God's not going to bless you in your moment, because when you can give, then do. Um, Also, my family lives off of tithes, not like, let me preface that, as in they have seen the work that God has done when they do tithe. Like, every time I get a check, my parents are like, that 10%, just cut it off top. Don't even worry about it. Just that 10%, give it to God. And then you can still work with the other 90. Like, he's not asking for 50. He's not asking for the 90 and you work with 10. No, he's literally just asking for 10 and you still have 90 left. 90 is still an A, right? But the association
Come on,
between,
Taylor. Somebody came in the back door.
Yeah.
90 is still an A.
It is. Hey, look, for a girl who went through undergrad and C's get degrees, look, hey, look, 70 is still passing, right? Like, you will still get that diploma. I mean, my master's, hey, look, I made it, but
look, Mama, I made it.
Hey, hello, I got the cap and gown and diploma to prove it. But yeah, like it's not the same, right? Like, it's your offering to God. You're not paying for a sermon. If you want to hear a sermon, people have free sermons all the time. Go on YouTube and look them sermons if you really ain't trying to pay for one. Nobody's asking. That's not what it is. But if you want to be in community, go to church. But money and church are not always synonymous. Church divides money, but that's not the same, you know. But I'll just leave that there.
Thank you, Travian.
Counterclockwise, friend, and you're muted.
We gonna come back.
Yo, can y'all hear me? Hello.
Yeah, we with you. We with you, boy.
All right, cool. Here is my intake. I think I agree with Taylor. Like, it's what you're able to give. But money and church they shouldn't even correlate. But hey, that's the world we live in. But people don't even pay attention, and that's free. So,
sir. Yes, sir.
And it begins.
How can you be so distraught? I think I used that word right, about giving your money away when you don't even do the things for free. You don't even pay yourself sometimes. So I think that it's more so on the people than the preacher. And reason being because it's up to you to make the choice on what you want to do and how you want to do it. So that's all I have for right now. But yeah, I think that it's on the person, honestly, not the preacher.
Somebody put that in the comment section. It's the people, not the preacher. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna really talk about that.
Boy, you don't even know what you said. You know
what you just said. Use them, Lord. Use them. Hey, man. Oh man, Kiki.
Yes.
Talk to us.
hate no.
It's unplugged.
Hey, it's a strong word though, but I get it. I understand.
Yeah, I'm trying to do better. I can't stand people that they want to make a decision, but then the decision they want to make isn't made. I hate people that ask another person for a justification for the decision they want to make. Because why are you asking the preacher, why do I have to pay to hear a sermon? You don't have to pay. Like, my little brother Trey, it's up to you to make that decision. I can't. For me, every time if I'm a visitor going to a church, and I pay a tithe. But if I'm going to churches trying to scout out where I'm gonna be at, I don't pay no tithe my first couple times going to that church, and don't feel bad about it. Mm-mm. When I was visiting that church with all them Trump stickers in the parking lot, no. That's it. Like, you don't have to do anything, but don't ask anybody else to justify a decision that you feel iffy about making. I mean, if you don't want to do it, then don't do it, and you stand up in it. But don't. You know, you tell me why you think I should do it. Just don't do it.
When people can't afford something, they always looking for a cosigner.
Yeah.
Come on, alone.
Mm-hmm.
Or when people don't got it, they always start saying about why they didn't want it in the first place.
Co-sign their foolishness. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't. You don't want to own it, so you want somebody to co-sign, so to make you feel better. It's really a form of gaslighting too.
Thank you. It is.
Yeah, very much.
It's really gaslighting.
It's triggering.
I was literally about to say that.
Jump in. It's yours.
I have to stake in that because God gives us free will anyway. He is not putting a gun to our head saying, oh, you have to do this or you have to do that, and it just saves a lot of, if we were to really just, let's say, do our own thing. No one's really forcing, depending on the church. I can't say some people don't force, because I've been to churches where they are like making the members feel bad for not giving, and then having the nerve to ask for more and more. Oh, we haven't met our quota. We want $1,000. Can anybody give? I have been to a church like that. And that's what I think that some people are talking about, rather than the churches that do give you the free will. So I can understand the people that do have a problem with it, but I just can't understand the people who, you have a preacher that doesn't press the issue, that give what you can give. We understand. Give out of the kindness of your heart. We understand. I have a 50-50 type of thing for it, because every church is different. Every preacher is different. It's just how you feel. If you don't like churches like that, just don't go to it. I second what she said. Don't go to it. You can just pass by.
That part. Thank you, Sonny P.
All right. I'm gonna hit some people on top of the head now. Okay. So all throughout your life, this tool called money that you use for every waking object, every waking service, every waking system that you yourself utilize or support, you have absolutely nothing to say about it. Even if the price gets too high, you have absolutely nothing to say about it. But when it comes to something that honestly should be more charitable than a responsibility, you want a heart that you feel it's wrong. Some cases predatory. Let me go ahead and say it like this. When it comes to church, there's the organization, there's the service and servitude, and there's the spirit. All right? Your money You don't pay a membership to be at the church. Now, some churches, like I said, there's different hierarchies. There's different mega churches that really work on supporters' money, right? Sponsors and things of that nature. That's a whole nother can of worms. But we're just talking about the every run day of the meal, homegrown on your corner in downtown on your city church that honestly does a service for your soul every week. And you have the gall to come in there and feel as if the word, the air conditioning, the seating, the bathroom, the hospitality, and their security isn't worth just a bit of the one resource that you go out and compile every day of your life. You wouldn't say anything at the restaurant, though. You don't say anything at the gas station. And yeah, you have your gripes, but you still pay it. But beyond that, let's get a little let's move past that part and let's get on the charitable thing, right? Right? And really tithes is a sensitive subject to a lot of folk who grew up because you're thinking, why I went and worked all week and I got to give this church 10%. I got to give this person. We're not giving. So first and foremost, you have to realize we're not giving a singular person any of our money. What we're doing is we're following a custom, and actually that custom is building a principle. See, the real problem of it is why people have an issue is because they can't sit within that principle. They don't like structure, and they don't respect things that actually are good for their life. They rather spend money and services on goods that mean nothing for their life. So I'm going to end it here with this comment. If you feel pressed that you have to come out your pocketbook, or that you should come out your pocketbook to help keep this building and this person that's feeding your soul, something that you don't have the time, the ability, the effort, and the skill to do, honestly, because one of the parts of the conversation was, I can go and study for myself. Yeah, you can, but guess what? How far are you going to get? Because you don't have a deep understanding of what you're studying. I can go and pick up a psychology book right now and get a glossary and work through all of the terms. Does that still make me a certified psychologist?
No, sir.
Can I actually go and work in the field? Am I actually tried and true? Right? I mean, and I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna leave it alone. What we really do is we pay for convenience and we pay for speed. Because if we had to go and do everything that we need to do, like the man of God labors to do over his life for a flock of people, we'd be some real wilderness people for quite a while.
Wow.
So.
All right. Whew. Let's see where we going. The statement within itself is ignorant. Because if truth be told, when people say things like, why do I have to go pay for a sermon when I can study the word on my own? Chances are those people aren't studying.
Right.
Because if I studied the word for myself,
you would know.
Even when you look at Acts chapter number 8, when you look at Acts chapter 8, there was a eunuch, the Bible says, who had come from worshiping, and he was riding along in his chariot, and God dispatched Philip, a man of God, to go out of his way to sacrifice his own agenda to come meet this man. Got in this man's chariot, going away from the direction that he was going in, basically joining this man, listening to him about where he was, at really trying to figure out what he didn't understand, and began to teach him Jesus. Right? began to teach him Jesus. Upon that interaction, that encounter, this man saw a body of water. Now, there's nothing in the text that says that Philip taught him about baptism, right? There's nothing that says Philip said, "Hey, you need to be baptized to be saved." But when they got to some water, he said, "Look, here's water. What hinders me to be baptized?" Right? So obviously, if the man understood everything that he needed that was essential for salvation, why would God have sent a man of God to Philip? Also, if we look at Paul's letter to the church at Rome, when you look at Romans chapter 10, verse number 17 says, so then faith coming by hearing, not by studying. Faith coming by hearing, not by studying. Faith coming by hearing. You believe what you hear.
Uh-huh.
And then he says further in that text, how can they hear except they have a preacher? Let's look further in the text. Because people doing a lot of talking, but the Bible they're not quoting a lot of scripture. But let's look a little further. 2 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse number 7. Paul said, every man according as he purposeth in his heart, so let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity, for God loves a cheerful giver. And God is able to make all grace abound toward you, that you always have a sufficiency in all things, and that it may abound to every good work. Watch what he says. He says, and God is able to make grace abound towards you. Those who give cheerfully, God is going to extend grace.
Uh-huh.
So I understand that if I'm willing to freely give, then God is going to be willing. He's going to be willing to freely give grace unto me. What is grace? Grace is withholding something that I do deserve.
Uh-huh.
I don't deserve any of God's blessings. But guess what? He extends grace. He extends. He allows me to have these things. It's unmerited favor. I didn't earn it. I didn't work for it. I don't deserve it. He has mercy, withholding those things that I should have, right? And grace extending those things that I shouldn't have. I also think it comes down to people's misconception about what it is the church really is doing. And here it is. I believe that, and here it is that us as men of God, I believe we have to do better of projecting a vision for people, because people will give when they believe in something, right?
It's true.
When people don't know what they're giving towards, they're more apt to say, you know what, I'd rather give to a nonprofit organization than give to the church. Right?
Yes, sir.
And so we find people doing that. Hence, Facebook has started out with these birthdays. Hey, you can donate this to your favorite charity on your birthday. Why? Because people like giving. But there have been so many people who have mishandled the people of God. Lastly, there's also the misconception that everybody is a mega church pastor.
Right.
Joel Osteen.
Because Joel Osteen lives in a mansion, because T.D. Jakes lives in a mansion, because all of these guys live in a mansion. Creflo wanted a jet. Every man, do you know that only 5 out of 3 to 400,000 churches in America, 5% of those churches are mega churches? 5%. All the run-of-the-mill churches in our communities, the neighborhood churches, the majority of churches have under 100 members. What kind of house you think that pastor living in?
Not a mention.
Not a mention.
Let me tell you, my dad definitely does not.
Most small church pastors or preachers work secular jobs, right? Anything under 300 members is considered a small church. So let's really talk about big churches. How many big churches do you see? Not a lot of them. And then the numbers are declining, right?
Huh?
Let's look at the 80-20 rule. What's the 80-20 rule? They're always 20% of the people that's doing 80% of the work.
Uh-huh.
So guess what? Here's my analysis on it. Is that when you have 20% of the people carrying 80% of the load, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to go undone, right? I said this to the church a few years ago. I find it very, very humorous, but also very sad that the average, let's say the average house, the average home in a middle class neighborhood, right? Which people that we typically associate with, if you know, people that have had degrees or had careers or gone to military, you know, somewhat middle class, right? Lower to middle class, maybe upper middle class, somewhere in that range. Average home, 150,000 to 250,000. That's fair. 150, 250. I'm right. You can have a school teacher that's single that can pay for a $100,000 home by himself, right? You have married couples, two people, two incomes that can pay for a $250,000 house, right? What's the mortgage gonna run on that? Let's do the math, because y'all hear me say it all the time. Women lie, men lie, numbers don't, right? Let's do the math on that. What would a mortgage like that run on a 30-year mortgage at y'all ain't doing no math. Okay, I'll do it.
That's like
About this stuff.
2,500.
Listen, I stopped doing math
Like
in undergrad.
25.
So about 25. Let's just say about 2,500, right? 2,500, two people, two incomes. It's a sin and a shame that two people can pay a $2,500 a month mortgage, but then you can have a congregation of 50 who can't pay a $1,000 mortgage on a building.
That is because people it's perception. So a house, perception and value.
It has value, absolutely.
A house has value because they see that it does.
A church
But
doesn't
they
have
don't
value,
see-
though?
No.
They don't know.
Let him finish.
They don't see God though. They don't see him. They don't see him come down from heaven and give a speech and go back up. They don't see that. So it's not going to be valuable to some people. So why would I pay this little 10%? But if I pay my 2,500 mortgage, I get to keep this nice house. It's misperception on what values the most, which in reality, God gave you that.
No, let's talk about not even misperception. It's misappropriation.
Yes.
That too. Yes, sir.
It's misappropriation of funds. Because if truth be told, let's look at it. If truth be told, more people flock to the up-to-date edifices, the plush and comfortable edifices.
Which is wild.
They want the lights and the screens and the plush carpet and the comfortable seats. But guess what? That stuff costs money.
Yes.
You have more people that will flock to a church that has more technology and more convenience than the church that still got hymn books and all that stuff like that. Because we have technological advances in every other aspect of life. But guess what? Your tax dollars pay for that in the school.
Yep.
But you don't argue with Uncle Sam.
No.
I mean, well,
you ain't got no choice.
Your taxes take it out regardless.
So, and that's the thing about tithing, right? 10% already belongs to God. That's not even giving God anything. Let me do it like this. If you come to me, Sonny, and you say, "Hey, bro, I need a loan, right? I need to borrow $100." I say, "Okay, bro, I'll loan you this 100, right? And you pay me back 125." right? And just charge you a little interest on it, right? You pay
Uh-huh.
back 125. I can do one even better. I can do one even better. Let's make it more practice because we're talking about mortgages.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna go to the bank and ask the bank for $200,000 on this home, but I'm gonna have something called an interest rate
Yep.
that I'm willing to pay
Mhm.
because this home has value to me, and it's
Uh-huh.
going to give me comfort. It's going to allow me to raise my children. It's going to provide me with a sense of validation, right? It's going to give me all of the essentials that I need, that I desire. So I'm going to sign my life away, saying
Uh-huh.
that come hell or high water, I'm going to pay not only this mortgage, but I'm going to pay the interest. Because guess what? The bank is not going to give you $200,000 if you're going to give them $200,000 back,
Mhm.
Right.
right? So this is how I always explain tithing to people. If the bank gives you 200,000, you're giving them 200,000 back. You haven't given them anything.
Nothing.
The tenth already belongs to God. So when we tithe, we're just being obedient.
Hmm.
We don't give an offering until we exceed the 10th.
Uh-huh.
Hmm. Mhm.
Uh-huh.
That's what I'm saying.
Mr. Carlos.
we get stuck on and notice what the text says, 2 Corinthians 9:7. God loveth a cheerful giver. But
Right.
he says,
Yes.
every man according as he purposeth in his heart. So guess what? If you don't want to give, God don't want it. But can I tell you what I've learned from experience? If we don't give it to God, God gonna take it.
Sure
Woo!
will. And that's the ugly part. That is the ugly part.
Mr. Carlos.
That's just law. That's
Right.
just law.
That's law.
Yep.
And chances are, check this out. Let me tell you how much of a sense of humor God has sometimes.
Petty.
And this is my belief. This is my belief. I'm not speaking for God, but I believe sometimes God will take it from you and give it to somebody that you don't even like.
Literally.
I'm just telling you. I'm just saying,
Don't
like,
play with me.
listen,
All my money.
um,
Yeah.
we gotta just be real, man. And like, you know, when Beyonce did concerts a few years ago, people was paying what
Wow.
$800-900. Man, people were paying what, $1,000 just to take a
Kiana,
picture.
fix face, Kiana. Fix face, Kiana.
Well.
That's Beyonce.
Absolutely.
No other human is
It's,
gonna get all that.
Okay,
it's
I
crazy.
got something to say. Let me play devil's advocate because I'm sitting
Come
here thinking about it from their perspective, and I think I can see a perspective where they're coming from.
Okay.
I'm not a. I live by a value that sometimes is wrong, but I live by a value that there is complacency and silence, and a lot of people live by that value too. They just don't have a phrase for it. If I get on Instagram and see a man wearing a fake Gucci suit with $400,000 worth of jewelry on get robbed, and then everybody else, they're just not, well, that's just foolishness and we don't do that there, but we're just gonna do this here. I mean, so are you okay with that? I mean, y'all, you just ain't gonna say nothing. Now let somebody gay come out. Let somebody gay come out. Then every church across all the land, there's going to be a similar message. Get Sodom and Gomorrah. Get them gays out of here. Sodom and Gomorrah. And then Pastor led this thing by saying it's just been a lot of foolishness lately. Everybody is seeing this foolishness. Everybody is seeing people being foolish. Everybody is seeing the unfoolish people just sitting there being quiet. But then you expect other people to pay into this. and we see the bad, but we don't see the good. And then we don't hear the good either because, again, y'all don't say nothing. And I don't know if that's a pact that y'all got with God. I honestly don't know, and you ain't got to tell me the secret. But and look, anytime a church scandal happens, go on any social media platform and read them comments. And you will see down there, you will see people saying, okay, this is why.
Mhm.
They're wrong. But this is why. People saying that, and then y'all ain't saying nothing. But then when it's time to pay money, then let's talk for 39 minutes.
I will say this. It's not that nobody's saying anything. It's just the fact of the reach of your influence. If I don't have a seat at a national table with that kind of influence, because truth be told, the influence most often it's given by the mega pastors, right? They're the ones who kind of set the precedents for church. They're the ones who have the I can post a sermon clip that's just as profound, just as biblically sound, just as stronghold shattering, right? As this man of God over here, or this pastor over here, this preacher, but because this preacher has 10,000 members, guess what? He got 10,000 likes already to start with, because his members gonna naturally like his clips, right? So that 10,000 likes is gonna trigger algorithms on social media to push it on everybody's page. So guess what? That 10,000 likes turns into 30, 40, 50,000 likes. So those are the clips that people are being seen, that people are seeing, versus what I don't know how many people I got on Instagram. I got maybe 1,500 followers on Instagram, and I think the most I've hit is 15,000 views on a clip, and that's breaking ceilings with that type of following, right? So it's not that but I don't get that on every clip. You're right. I average maybe 2,000, maybe 1,500 per clip. So it's not that we're not saying anything. Jesus says, "Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify God which is in heaven." All we can do is just continue to let our light shine. And if this is my little piece of the kingdom, guess what? I'm gonna let my light shine in my little piece of this part that God has granted me a steward over. And we can speak out against. I speak out against stuff all the time, but guess what? It only goes as far as it goes.
Let me help and kind of add to that. Okay,
please.
Let me add to that because since we got to influence, let's put it together with this whole backing people with your resources thing, backing people with your ability to help make an impact. A leader can only go as far as his reach, and then the reach of those who follow him.
Absolutely.
So when your money runs short in support of the leader who is speaking out, guess what happens? The word falls short of the masses that need to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the times, and here's the thing, like I said, you pay for convenience and you pay for speed. For the most part in your life, with all of the services that you get rendered, except when it comes to the church, you only pay for convenience most of the time. And when I say that is, we're talking about the construct of the mega churches that have already done the marketing, have already laid the groundwork to get a lot of captivation in people's eyes and get people in seats, right? So the people that go there, they're usually paying for convenience and a spectacle, right? But this homegrown church, this corner church that is actually, and I'm not saying that all mega churches aren't coming in and speaking against or speaking for the people, but you have to understand, when you have that many eyes, you have more agendas that you have to speak to. That's another topic.
Oh, that's a good
this that's another topic. This homegrown home-fed, cornbread-filled church of good people who need the support to get out this word, not for the fame, but for the actual impact.
Mm-hmm.
They have no reach because nobody's coming and helping to build this framework and groundwork around the man of God.
Yeah.
Right? When you hold your tenth and when you hold your offering from a man of God who is actually going out, working another job, then coming on Sunday, Wednesday Bible studies, whatever other events they put together to go and do the work of the Lord, the will of the Lord, and also to help the community, help the people. That particular person that's doing all that, oftentimes, while they're doing the groundwork, isn't getting much help from those he's helping.
Or compensated for the time.
Or compensated for the time. So how do you expect somebody who has not very much momentum, not talking about him, he's got a bunch of power, but no momentum to get out and break ground or break yokes or break seeds of things that are atrocities for the nation or atrocities for the masses.
Mm.
We have to get behind this type of thing. So you don't see it, but it don't mean it's not going on.
Mm.
See, believing is seeing. But the truth of the matter, believing is seeing, but actually getting behind and a faith field is doing the action, the work. And we don't see the thing that we need most of the time because it's shrouded under the text and the scrolls of all the very famous things, all the very lucratively sensational things, all the very things that tick your emotion, and not the things that tick your soul.
Mm. Let me bounce off of that. Let me bounce off of that.
Go ahead.
Kiana, fix your face.
Not yet.
So let me bring it to an experienced narrative. Okay. Let's talk about based on a true story, right? We need $50,000 to finish our new building, correct?
Right.
How many initiatives have we said that are going to go into this one facility? How many lives have we already said, man, this is going to bless so many people, right?
So many.
But watch this. Could we go to the bank and get a $50,000 loan? Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
But let me tell you this. You will never see a mortgage on a Jewish synagogue.
Ever.
You know why? Because they fund it. They put their money together and they build these beautiful structures and they keep their money in their community.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Right.
But when it comes to mostly our culture, our communities, we go outside of our communities to ask for money. Now watch this. You know why the churches, by and large, especially these small to medium-sized churches, aren't necessarily doing what people would like for them to do in the community? I just talked to one of our members today who is working all these jobs and can't really afford to take off ever because they're trying to keep the kids fed and trying to keep this roof over their head. And they've been asking around organizations and churches to help, and they haven't gotten any help. You know why? Because guess what? When I go to the bank and ask, if we go to the bank and say, hey, bank, we need $100,000 to purchase this land, to build this building and all this stuff. Like, guess what we have to do every month? We have to pay a mortgage.
Gotta pay them.
Many churches overhead is so high that they cannot even be any kingdom good to the community.
Right.
Uh-huh.
It costs to keep the lights on. It costs to have a roof. And don't let that start happening. Don't let the roof start leaking.
Right.
Don't let a hurricane come and blow part of the roof off and the insurance doesn't cover it. Right? The internet, you want your services streamed so you can watch it at home. Guess what? The church got to have internet.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the internet you got at your house.
It's right, because there's a different.
I'm talking about some high-speed internet, right? Some stuff that's not gonna freeze and frizzle every time the preacher moves, right? Um,
One spot.
you want clarity and cameras. Guess what? It costs money. I see your hand, Kiki.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say something that my dad told me a long time ago. He told me, he said, listen, my dad's been pastoring for 40 years, right? This is I've been pastoring since 2005, right? So I don't know how many years that is. What, 16, 15, 17 years, right? In some capacity, whether it's youth pastor, associate pastor, whatever, but 17 years. My dad told me a long time ago, he says, never outbuild yourself. He said, never outbuild. Like, you can go try to build this nice build and all that, but he says, don't outbuild your support. Because what he says is, if it comes down to your family and the church is going to choose that building and not your family.
Yep.
That's true.
When people get put on the chopping block, guess who goes first?
The pastor.
Kiki.
Everything that you said and Sonny said was beautiful, but can one of y'all answer my question shortly?
Which question?
The question I asked to
Rephrase
start
the
all this.
Rephrase.
My question is, why do you guys expect church? Why do you guys expect everybody, all these people, to believe in your vision specifically, or whoever the preacher is specifically? We expect, like you said, y'all expect us just to see the light, and y'all expect us to see that if you just a good nigga, then you just shine it, and we just see the shine. And then y'all shiny niggas don't say anything about the dull ones. But then the dullness is overpowering y'all's light.
Yeah, because
y'all's
people
light
like
is
negativity.
dying.
People love negativity. And I'm gonna tell you furthermore, I wouldn't even say people love negativity. We gotta understand, this is still theological, right? This has grave theological implication. This is spiritual warfare. Everything that Satan comes to do is to steal God's glory, right? And so when he steals God's glory, it's, of course, light represents God. We said we're gonna talk about this, so let's spill over into that topic, right? Why is light and dark always not the same? Why does darkness travel faster than light? Right? In our world, we know that light can cut through darkness, but we, as a people, as a society, we'll spill some tea before we praise somebody else. We'll talk about somebody's downfall before we praise somebody for their accolades, right? Let's talk about the negativity. This joker that got on there and chastised his congregation because they didn't buy him a Movado, he's a stone cold fool. Preach the word of God. First of all, you want a Movado? At least be talking about a Rolex. But why don't you go pay for that for yourself? If you watch this, if you treat people right,
exactly,
if you do for people, God already said it. He says that he's going to extend grace. So that grace comes in many forms, right? When you do right by people, my mentor told me when I first got in sales a long time ago, he said, you help enough people get what they want, eventually you get what you want. If you help enough people get what they want. So to answer your question, let's circle back. To answer your question, I don't believe and I don't expect everybody to buy into the vision that God has given me for this ministry. This ministry is not for everybody.
right?
I know that I'm not everybody's preacher. I know that I'm not everybody's minister. I'm not everybody's pastor. But the people who have said, I want to be a part of this ministry, I do expect there is an expectation based on their commitment that say, hey, I want to be a part of this ministry. So guess what? If you're going to be a part of it, be a part of it.
Pour into it.
Because guess what? You pour more money into your children's little league soccer and baseball and basketball because you think he gonna grow up and be the next LeBron James. He ain't that good.
He might be.
Wait,
Wait.
wait. I'm gonna let you go, Travian. Watch what you did. You had a belief in a potential that had no concrete evidence for it.
No value.
No value. You poured into something with the hopes of what you believed that child could do, and you had a little bit of extra interest in there because it was yours, right? And you believed something that you can't see, and you didn't hear the child say, "I want to be that." You wanted that for that child.
Because you know if that little percent happened, you know what it's not going to do just for your child, but what it's going to do for you.
For you.
But why aren't we putting the same type of like investment into our salvation though?
That part.
Hello.
Because it's your salvation. It's not my. Listen, I'm going to heaven. I can't go for you.
Right.
It's my salvation. You need to and don't hear this because somebody's gonna take this and they're gonna say, well, they talking about you got to pay for salvation. No, I'm not saying that. And because that's what that's why we're talking about this. You're not paying for your salvation, but guess what? You're honoring God. The first thing that Noah did when he got off that ark is he built an altar. He honored God. He gave back to God. That's what we got to understand. We're not giving to an organization. In essence, we're giving to God, and we're saying, listen, because I have faith in God. Okay, let me do it this way. Let's talk about faith. Let's talk about faith. Let's talk about faith.
Yeah.
Husbands, love your wives. Ephesians 5 verse 25. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. Why did Paul say submit yourselves to your own husbands? He's not saying submit because he's just that great of a guy. He's saying submit because you chose him to be your guy.
Yep.
He's saying you had enough faith in him that man was going to lead you closer to God. You had faith in him that man was going to take care of his household. You had faith in him that he was going to be a protector of your home. You had faith in something that you haven't seen yet. But you looked at his track record, you saw the evidence of what he has done, and you put faith in what he can do. Anybody that becomes a part of a ministry, they need to look at the evidence and understand. Listen, is this a man? Let's talk about it on a personal level. Let's do it. Let's do this. Sonny Sonny was done with organized religion. Sonny said, "Bro, I don't do that." You know, we talked, and guess what? Based on the evidence, and he observed, still observing, right? He said, "You know what? You might be onto something."
Yeah.
So I don't think that everybody should buy into the vision that God has given me for this ministry, because this isn't everybody's ministry. Because guess what? Somebody else's gifts might be utilized better in another way. We're just part of the kingdom.
Well,
New Heights is just part of the kingdom. That's it.
I didn't mean to imply that, and I didn't mean to say that. That's not what I meant, or that's not what I meant. I now I'm looking at it. It's again because you said that we can't be on this spiritual journey by ourselves. We need a man of God. We need a leader. It's just looking like there are not enough effective leaders out here.
I agree with that statement. I 100% agree with that statement. We talked about this Sunday.
Yeah. Because like you said, the bad is being, we exemplify the bad. We see the bad, but then I don't feel enough new heights to buy into. I know everybody's not gonna buy into new heights. I just don't feel like there are enough new heights to buy into. And if the bad is being exemplified and the good, you can't see the good nowhere around, then I mean, whose fault is it? Is it the person's fault that's asking the questions?
No.
Do we?
It's the faith.
It's not the
It's the
faith
belief.
either.
It's the because reason I say that is because even I'm gonna just take it away from the church, but everything that is big started very small with probably no believers either.
I agree.
So how is it that they flourish? But how is that? Is it the person that came up with the idea that believed, or was it its small support group that believed that this
Come on.
thing can
But
take
see,
off?
that's what.
Man.
Thank you for answering my question.
Opposite direction.
It's
Opposite
not
point,
just
opposite.
you by yourself. Even if there is a small group, like you just said, there is a small group of people like-minded trying to get this together. I'm not arguing about this small. I agree that there is that small group. My thing is, if you want everybody to be saved and Christian, then and there is a big group of niggas doing Christian wrong, and there's a small group of us doing Christian right. I mean, I cannot blame the people that are not Christians from the outside looking in, having all these questions. At the beginning of this, I was upset because that just triggered something in me, that decision thing. But now that I'm thinking about it, they don't need to be upset. I mean, we don't need to be upset at them for asking that question. We need to be upset for ourselves for even making the question possible.
I agree with that.
Well, I partially agree with that.
What
I
part don't you
partially
agree
agree.
with?
I partially agree with that. It's not that we shouldn't be upset that they said that, because guess what? That people have to take accountability too.
Yeah.
Because they allowed it. This is what I tell people sometimes. I can't complain when I get up from the table.
Yep.
If I want to affect change, I gotta have a seat at the table.
Yep.
Why would you leave the table and then complain about the people that's at the table?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wait, say that one more time. Say that one more time.
Why would you get up from the table and then complain about the people still sitting at the table?
You didn't believe
You got up.
You didn't
got
believe
up.
it. Apparently,
you forfeited. You made the conscious decision that ain't got enough to say. I showed my hand, but guess what? If I really want to affect change, I'm gonna stay seated.
Right.
And I'm gonna stay seated. And guess what? I'm gonna start influencing, and I'm gonna work hard to gather influence so that I can slowly change my piece of the pie. Right. So we can't be upset that they make those kind of comments. Yeah, that's why we leaving. That's why I left the church. Well, why did you leave the church? Why
you should have changed it. You should have said so.
Why didn't you try to find a ministry that was more organic, that was doing the right things, and help broadcast that message? Right. And say, hey, shout from the hilltops that, hey, they might be doing that over there, but guess what? I finally found a ministry that's striving to do God's will.
Because that's what I think the problem comes into play. You got people who don't know they don't have their own route to take for themselves, so they try to follow what they think may be the perfect route, and then even in religion, it's not perfect. So, I don't know. I kind of see where everybody is going with it though, but it's one of those things where you gotta.
Yeah, it's like people don't have their own type of like base. So when
how you gonna know what to follow?
Right. So it's like this doesn't seem right. This doesn't, but if you don't know what it is for yourself, you're never gonna know what to do, where to go, how to function. If you haven't, that's what it's like. If you haven't done the work for yourself, that's the idea. Like people who are like, why, if I don't need to give to the church, if I could just do the work myself, but you're, like you said, you're not doing the work yourself. You're not even reading for yourself. So you're not going to know where to go. And when you do go when you finally like happen to find somewhere and you're still like, this ain't right, that's God's discernment saying yes, because you're supposed to do the work for yourself, then find something that aligns with you. You're not going to align with everybody, and that's okay. Because there are going to be churches out there that are going to be selfish. There are going to be churches out there who you're not going to know where the money is, where the money's going. I think it's really important that there be some transparency in a church, right? Because if you're giving to a nonprofit, the nonprofit has to show you where all the money's going.
The church is a nonprofit, so you have if you're asked,
you have the right. You have the right.
Right. You have the right. If I'm giving my money away, I should know where it's going. But a lot of churches don't do that.
No, some people say they don't. Well, I gave it to God. I didn't give it to the church. If y'all mishandle the money, that's on y'all. A lot of people think that way too. A lot of older people think that way. But let me say this though. Let's talk about it. Let's say, Taylor, let's just say you gave $10,000 this year.
Oh, Jesus.
In tithes.
Give that
right?
to me first.
Let's say you make $100,000 a year and you gave 10,000, right? Okay.
You hear that? We gonna claim that.
Or you gave 13,000 because you're not just giving a tenth. You gonna give an offering too, right?
Right.
So because you learned that tonight.
In abundance,
right?
In abundance.
Right. You overflow, right? Let's say that you gave. No, let's just say you gave 11,000. You was like, okay, I did my 10%. I gave a little bit extra, right? A little bit laid out. And then you asked for a financial statement, and you learned that all of what you had given and the rest of the church had given only paid the church's bills. And there were people that were coming to the church asking for help. But the church was unable to help because everything that came in was already allocated to go out. What would you do then? Would you increase your offering if you could? Or would you say, you know what? That's not on me.
That's the church's problem.
That's the church.
We are the church. What?
Hello.
Are you kidding me?
Hello.
You can't say that's the church's problem when you are the church.
Well, no, that's the leadership's problem. No, a lot of people say that's the leadership. That's the pastor. The pastor need to figure that out.
You are part of the leadership.
I was just about to say that should be
foolishness.
That should be the
if transparency. You want a successful church, bro. Get out of here.
That should be the part you tell your members. Look, if you decide to do this, that is your choice. But this is what you shouldn't leave false hope. If that makes sense. That's what I think.
What do you mean when you say that part?
False hope. Mm-hmm. If you don't, okay, it's kind of like, I'm trying to make it sound so good. Okay, if I'm giving my money away to this particular place, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking on my own will that this is what this is exactly for, but it's not. That's something you should tell me. And if I make a choice, then that's on me. It's a lot of people.
We're not saying that you don't know. Like people, this is the thing. Like if you're a part, especially I can speak for New Heights. If you're part of New Heights, you know what our overhead is, right?
Right.
I put that out there all the time, right? Do I not?
That's what I'm saying. You put that out there.
So people know what the overhead is. So guess what? If we're barely meeting overhead, we're not doing anything else. We're not doing anything else.
Right.
So that's an automatic. And I'm a conscious leader. I'm conscious enough as a leader to say, look, hey y'all, we just meeting overhead. There's this. Look, you know what I would love to do this year? I would love to feed the Biloxi High School football team before their football games. Right? That's outreach. That's outreach. They eat before their games. They have all these different organizations that come in and feed the football team before their games. Guess what? Why can't we do that?
That's what I mean. You are a conscious leader, but how many other leaders are conscious as you?
I can't account for that. But you know what I can do?
But that's what
I can raise up some leaders underneath me that will eventually affect change for the future.
Okay.
Or I can raise up leaders under me now that in a couple years they can go out and because that's what my vision is to establish younger pastors and preachers underneath me to go out, and we plant New Heights churches, congregations all over the country.
Right.
Right. That's the vision, but it has to start somewhere. You follow what I'm saying? And let's talk about this leadership mode. Leadership changes. Right? Oh God. Oh, thank you, Holy Spirit. If a leader doesn't change, the leadership will change. That means if I'm not willing to understand the leadership that I need to obtain in this season of my leading, then God will raise up another leader.
Because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing in the first place.
Yeah.
Like I told Sonny and Kiana and those that were with me Sunday, I'm in a recalibration mode right now, because the same we have a young adult church. Our church is a young adult church, period. Right? The median age in our church has shifted. It's changed. Before COVID, we were a top heavy church. Now we're a bottom heavy church, right? So the way I led that demographic of people is not going to be effective for leading this demographic of people. I have to shift.
Yeah.
Most leaders have one act only.
Yeah.
But listen, that means in this season, I'm going to make a lot of mistakes because I'm learning how to lead in this season.
That's a leader. I get that. I get that. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I ain't got no comeback for that one, man. But I understand. I understand thoroughly though.
It's real.
But how many I'm just saying, because church is just not a New Heights thing. It's a global thing. So it's like, how many other? And I know we can't speak for other people, but if this is a topic that is being talked about amongst the masses, as Sonny would say. I can't get that right. Anyway,
he's trying so hard.
Opposite way of what you're trying to point. Like,
okay, opposite way. Boom, him. Then how many leaders? Because you could look at a T.D. Jakes or Joel Osteen as an example of what it could be, but my question would be, well, how many times as a leader did you shift to do? What did you do for your members or your people? I guarantee you they're gonna have probably a different amount of answers. It wasn't the same way as when it started. So
absolutely,
that's what I think. And I say it's on the people.
Address for every season.
Yes. So,
I want to bring a perspective.
Yeah, because you've been quiet
to this topic. We're speaking a lot about quantity. And I'm not trying to. I'm going to connect it back to the whole tithing or offering or giving money, right? We're speaking a bunch about quantity. And the truth of the matter is what we need at all times is quality.
Absolutely.
And isn't it ironic that sometimes the most valuable thing be the scarce thing, but it's scarce not because there's not numbers. It's that people don't decide to pick it up because they go with what's famous. I'm here to tell you that I prefer to get certain groceries not from Walmart.
Yes, sir. Yes,
but
sir.
everybody across the nation, as a collective, is going to still go to Walmart, knowing that the quality of those items are subpar to mediocre at best.
My God.
Now, it's not that we don't have Kroger. It's not that we don't have Target. It's not that we don't have all these other potential chains. Some of them are large. Some of them are small. It's not that we don't have those. It's that it's so easy
It's
to
convenient.
go with the masses
Yeah.
that aren't getting great quality.
Oh,
So when
God.
you have when you
Word.
when
Go
you
ahead.
have that
That's what I'm
that
talking
that
about.
that true real diamond that takes you to actually dig up the dirt a little bit. Now you gotta
Mhm.
do a little finding, but when you find it and you see it and it's real and you test it, you bite on it, and it gives you all of those significations that, oh, this right here,
Mhm.
oh, this is what I need.
Yes,
Mm.
sir. Yes, sir.
Because trust me, if you came across it, I promise you 10 other people before you came across it.
Mm.
How many of those other people discarded that thing and went right back to
Well,
Walmart?
convenient.
Right.
God.
And all of their gripes are about the Walmart. All of their concerns, all of their issues, all of their
Sonny.
plight is on Walmart.
But they
Sonny.
But you found the best grocery store already.
right.
Come on,
Why are
sir.
you still going there? Why are you
Come on,
still
sir.
spending your money there? Why are you still holding your money and saying there's nothing good for me to use this for? It's oh so bleak. Oh, woe is me. I can't get what I need. There ain't nothing out there. Huh? You've
Right.
seen it already. And you didn't respect it enough because it wasn't the very thing that's been what everybody else is doing. I'm here to surmise that you're right. A lot of people don't have a mind for their own and they are nothing but sheep. And the sad thing is they're following the same broken system of shepherds that do nothing but make everything accessible
Losing
at
sheep.
a mediocre
Mm.
rate.
Yes, sir.
Mm.
I don't. All right.
You just said a mouthful then, my boy.
All right. Let's make it more practical. Okay. Let's make it more practical.
Can you?
That was that.
I think we
believe you
can. I
can.
think we can. I think
Okay,
we can.
I'm here for it. I'm here for
I
it.
think we can. I think we can. My money says oftentimes that maybe I shouldn't buy this designer shirt. Maybe I should buy a pack of shirts that are efficient to get me through the week.
That cost.
They cost less, but there's more value. But my mind, or really not my mind, actually the mind of the masses who dictate and decide what is trendy. Remember, I said we dictate and decide what's trendy when we accept something, even if it's subpar, even if it's against goodwill, even if it's a good standard. When we accept it as a group, that thing becomes trendy. So it was trendy for me to pick up this hat that was overpriced, honestly. And the material's nice. It's cool. It looks great, but it serves a little bit of purpose. It goes a little bit of a way. And now I got to go buy another one. When I could have got that pack that has 7 of them, one for each and every day. It cost a fraction of the price. It didn't need as much time. Like I don't go to Walmart or I don't go buy an Adidas hat. They don't miss my dollar. But this great corner store, this great grocery store, this thing that has everything that I need.
Mm-hmm.
I drive right by it, looking down upon it, as if it's not worth me. And that's the quality in which I need. Because if I get enough of that, watch this. If I get enough of that, I save enough money, I save enough of my resources to go get one of these and it not hurt my pocket.
That's what I'm.
It's so backwards that I can't figure it out.
It's the people, not the preacher. That's what I'm saying.
Listen, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's what I said.
Not me. It's not me.
Hey,
The preacher is doing.
Sometimes.
The preacher, him or her. I don't know a lot of her preachers, but
Sometimes
They are
it's
just-
the preacher. Sometimes it is the preacher.
Sometimes.
Yeah, no.
I ain't gonna lie. Yes, but that is more like a 80. That's on the 80-20 rule
No.
because the preacher is only doing what his vision is telling him to do. most of the time. Now
It's
you
not
take
even
it
supposed
from
to be
your
his vision.
people.
It's supposed to be what God says, though.
That
Hold
part.
on, hold on,
What-
hold on, hold on. Ooh, hold on. Let me help you out. Let me help you out. Okay, I'm gonna tell you when it.
man.
I'm gonna tell you when it's the preacher. Okay, because just like the masses see where everybody else is going,
So does he.
Very
so
true.
does that. So does that store.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what happens? Sometimes because so many things have passed you by, so many things have given you a real quick look and left you alone. So many things have came and entertained it. Oh yeah, I'll be back. And they never stood true to their word. You know what that preacher did? He aligned himself with some of the things that were working for other people. But the problem is he didn't have enough support behind the veil before he went out there and tried his hand. I'm gonna say it like this. There's some folk who've been scamming for years, right? They're real good at getting information, real good at getting lines of credit from other people's names and getting loans underneath their names and being able to leverage and hedge money and all of that type of stuff. They've been doing it for years. They understand the flow and everything, right? So they know how to stay hidden behind a veil. And somebody who needs to come up instead of doing it the respectful way and the righteous way, because you know what that takes? That takes time and that takes some support. And nobody's supporting you there. You know what they do? Sometimes they go to lean in and try this scamming way. And what happens 9 times out of 10?
Exposed.
Locked up, they won't let me out.
And that's when it's the preacher.
Yeah, most definitely.
But this is still a people game. This is still a numbers thing. We talking about support. We talking about using resources. This is still a numbers thing. If the masses are still behind, if the masses are still pushing the agenda, the obstacles of the very things that they don't agree with, those things are still getting the free marketing. We talk about stuff that's bad instead of talking about stuff that is righteous. The news is 99.9% tragedy.
It's propaganda.
Unrighteous.
Propaganda. How much of that? And it's funny. That propaganda is fractional to the amount of the reality that's going on across the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But we're so tunnel visioned on that one thing, and truthfully, a lot of the times that's not the representation of the masses anyway, or the people who are aspiring to be in leadership within the ranks of the masses. That's not that doesn't represent me. But because I wear the cloak, or because I wear the clothes of something that y'all decided was real, y'all decided was worth following, y'all decided was worth getting behind and boistering, getting famous. I take these bruntful hits as a leader that I did not deserve, as I'm doing everything right. When will the support? When will the desire of true seeking the righteousness, the real? When will we start being efficient with our investments instead of steady talking about, oh, it's a scam, and still throwing our money away on fruitless things?
Well, I also think, Sonny, that let's talk about let's go back to the frustration of that.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, the one that was trying to do it the right way, and he just tried his hand, right.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, when you find people like that, they tried so much
Mm-hmm.
and constantly took losses, took L's, right?
Right.
To where every time you take a L, you begin to question, what is this? Is this even God's vision?
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of staying true to the vision, because you believed initially that it was God's vision, you start seeing where somebody else was successful, and now your vision is no longer your vision because you're trying to facilitate somebody else's vision.
Right.
And so what you end up being is you become a fraud because that's not your ministry. That's not your gift.
Mm-hmm.
And truth be told, it's easy to get sucked into that. Oh man, this man, I know this guy that did this and his church is thriving, they're growing, they're doing this, they're doing that. Okay, that's what God gave them.
Right.
We got to stay
The
true
lane.
to what God gave us. And that's one of the biggest things about social media is that why social media is the standard is because we watching everything else that somebody else got. Y'all excuse me, I'm tired. That somebody else got. And we're trying to shape our lives to look at that.
Right.
That's not our picture.
Right.
And truth be told, that percentage of people who are posting the stuff
half of it's not even real anyway.
Funding the stuff.
To piggyback off of that, I was just gonna say, you ever notice that the people or organizations like a Walmart, they don't care about, they don't ever, how is it that they don't ever look back like we are? Or how is it that they don't ever worry about the stuff that we do? So, and I know this is still a topic on God, right? Correct.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I believe, I could be wrong, but this is just something he put on my spirit. I believe God already knew he wasn't gonna get everybody, but the people that did seek him and say, "Oh, I believe what you're telling me. You gonna come with me." So I say that to say I feel that that's what churches, preachers should do. Instead of you trying to do what the masses do, is that what you want, or is it just you want enough people to support you, and that's good enough, or or are you trying to be good enough for what you see? If that makes sense.
You have when it's that your goal is wrong. We talked about this a long time ago. Evangelism isn't about the masses. It's about spreading the gospel. If my job as a preacher, whoever, a leader in the church, is to make sure that everybody who comes in contact with Taylor knows who God is, that's my job.
Yes, sir.
And
yes,
teaching them what God is telling me. My job isn't to base myself off of what I see somebody else do. Now, if something that they're doing is working and I'm like, you know what? Let me try that. And it doesn't work, that's not my ministry. And don't be upset if that doesn't work, because that's okay. It's okay if it doesn't work. Something else for you is going to work better for you, right? I tell my clients all the time, number one, not my circus, not my monkeys, right? That's not my problem. You know, number two is stay in your lane. Their story is not going to be your story. Their lane is not your lane.
That's what
if you stay in your lane and you fixate and focus on what is in front of you and not on what's the other side, you won't crash.
Yeah.
And you're going to get to your destination a lot faster.
Thank you.
So if you focus on you, if you pay attention to the business that pays you and do what you really have to do, you don't got to worry about all this other stuff because it's going to happen. If it's meant for you, it's going to be for you. It's the same for church. If God is meant for you to have a congregation of 300, guess what? You sit there, do what you're supposed to do, and your 300 will come. But if your ministry is to be a small church and to reach the people who are there for you, you sit there, you pass it to your two folks who love you, and be okay with that. Be okay with that. It doesn't require mega millions. That is so far gone. It's about spreading what Jesus wants you to spread.
Amen.
That's it. That's all. It's not like we complicate it because, like we said, we see other people doing all this big, grandiose stuff, and God's like, I ain't doing all that.
He's like,
what are you doing? Like, congratulations, good for you, but That's what brings people and go, oh, they only spending my money so he can get a Rolls Royce. Oh, they're spending my money on this big mega thing. That's no. The church is for the building and the people. The building and the people. Focus on that.
So let me ask this question then. So what should the man of God get? Because let's talk about it. There's this misconception that
he's a part of the people.
I'm going to church, I'm paying for a sermon, or I'm paying this pastor to preach to me when I can do this for myself. And people don't want the man of God to profit off of them. That's what it boils down to. That's the meat behind that statement, is that I don't want to. You a hater, basically. I don't want somebody to profit off of me, because if somebody's profiting off of me, I went to work for that. I sweated, I labored, I did this and I did that for that money, but I'm just gonna give it to this man to go on his vacations, or go here and go buy this car, or go buy that house, or XYZ. But what if that man actually was a good steward of his money? He saved up for that vacation. He got good credit and he saved up for that house or that car. Let's talk about what should the man of God get, right? Because I had this conversation a few years ago, even with Chris, and he was talking, he doesn't really care for these mega pastors and all this stuff like that, because it's all a money grab. Well, is it? Let's look at the numbers. Right? Mega church. Let's see. Y'all pick somebody. TD Jakes. Let's TD. Okay, let's look.
Cleflow's right around the corner for me.
I've been to Joel Osteen Church in Houston.
You should did Joel. You should did Joel.
He got a man. Look.
Yeah, I just stayed right next to his building a few months ago at the DoubleTree right there in Houston.
Downtown,
Joel. Joe, yeah, I stayed right across the street from his building. I've seen
building, the same building that he said that hurricane evacuees could go in.
Absolutely, the old Summit, the old Houston Rockets arena. I've been to, it's the old Houston Rockets arena. I've seen Potter's house. I've driven up to TD Jakes' building. It's freaking massive, right?
Cleflow's actually ain't that big. I mean, it's big. It's on a big chunk of thing, but when I saw it, I was like, oh.
You was underwhelmed.
Yeah,
but
the money wasn't going into the building; it was going into other stuff.
It was going into other stuff. Absolutely. Now let's talk about this. Let's say on any given Sunday, right? What, 30,000 people? 30,000?
Average attendance of about 30,000.
Average attendance about 30,000. Okay, 30,000. Let's put that down. Y'all see it? Y'all can't see it. 30,000. All right, 30,000. Cameras and screens don't like each other. All right. The average offering per person in America is $25. That's the average churchgoer that deposits into the common treasury is $25. The average person that goes to church gives $25. Now you know that if you got a congregation of 30,000, you got some professional athletes, you got some entertainers, you got some doctors and lawyers and all that. So you know they're going to give more than $25. Yeah. But let's just say
just
30,000 times 25. $750,000. That's the average of what a $30,000 member congregation will take up one Sunday
on a weekend.
That doesn't even include Bible study.
On a weekend, they don't include Bible study. Now let's take that 30,000. All those 30,000 people ain't giving. All right. So let's cut that by 25%. Let's cut it by, well, you know what? We can do one better. We can cut it by 50%. Let's say half of those people aren't giving. So we're gonna take that 750,000 and divide it by 2. That's $375,000 a Sunday. Let's time that by 52.
Every week.
That's $19.5 million a year that church took up. And you saying that man of God isn't worth $1 million?
Some ain't.
No, I'm just saying. If that's he's living, he a millionaire, he living off the church and he got this mansion. This is what the church took. That's a low number.
That's a low number.
2.5 million. We just cut that in half. You saying that they're taking up almost $20 million a year,
and he don't get nothing,
and he can't. Okay, let's do this. 19.5 times 10% is 1.9 million.
Yeah, it's taking less than 10%.
If he's getting 10%, that's almost 2 million. So you're talking about giving the man of God as an honorarium, as we're going to support you. You're doing a great work for this ministry. It's grown to this size because of you, and God, of course, because of God. But God placed you in this setting, right? And let's say he's doing everything right, which that's between him and God. But you talking about $19.5 million and $1 million salary a year is too much. But yet we celebrate the professional athlete that signs $1 million contract and is not doing anything for your soul. You can't call that professional athlete when your grandma died, when your mom or dad passes away, when your child is about to be born. You can't call that professional athlete. You can't call Beyonce and be like, look, my son has graduated high school.
But I mean, you can't use that analogy.
I'm saying.
I'll explain why.
Okay, go ahead.
You can't use that analogy. Oh, the basketball players is doing it. The basketball players got it. We don't see the basketball players every Sunday in their Rolls Royces. We see y'all. So why? I mean,
wait a minute.
Okay.
Who is y'all? I don't have a role.
Well, not y'all, not you.
Wait a minute. Is it about availability and accessibility? Because
that's what she's saying.
That's an interesting topic to say. The guy that puts himself in my way every Sunday, who actually labors for me every Sunday, who actually does a specific work besides just give me entertainment, in which I do pay for if I go to the games or I watch it on TV, isn't worth that? Like the athlete does less and is not available. The movie star, they don't want to see you. They don't even want to know you by name. You are absolute nothing to them. But this particular person who's a steward over your life, or that you've chosen to be the steward of your life.
That part.
They do
can't have. Whew, that's rough.
I ain't saying they can't have it. I'm not saying they can't have it.
I'm just saying that's what the mindset of people is, because they just look at it as, I don't make $1 million a year. I work hard every day. I sweat. I do this. I do that. But guess what? So do they.
Yeah.
So do they. But guess what? Where they're, I'm just saying, look at the numbers. See, that's why I did that, because I guarantee you've never looked at the number. It doesn't sit right with us, because that's a lot of money.
No, that ain't why it don't. I don't know. Okay. It's just me. The kind of person I am. The kind of humility that God gave me. I'm not going. just me. I'm not going to drive my Rolls Royce to a congregation full of people that got cars with 3 wheels and 1 donut, or a effed up bumper, or 1 headlight. I'm pulling up there in my Rolls Royce and my $400,000 worth of jewelry, with my driver that dropped me off to open the door and close the door after me. They done pulled out the red carpet. I mean,
Okay.
yes, they had.
Let me ask you this question.
Who's echoing?
Where's this echo coming from?
It was echoing. I ain't hear.
What about now?
You good?
It's gone now.
All right. Let me ask you this question. If I was a ball player attending that congregation and I pulled up in my Rolls Royce, would you have a problem with it?
No.
If I was a brain surgeon and I pulled up in that Rolls Royce, would you have a problem with it?
No.
Why, if I pull up and I pastor a church and I pull up in a Rolls Royce, why is it that you have a problem with that? Let me finish this, because let's look at it. I pulled up in my Range Rover. When I made police chief, I went and bought a Range Rover. Right? I made police chief of a city. I went and bought a Range Rover. Before I was the police chief, I wasn't riding a Range Rover. But guess what? Folk in the church had a problem with me pulling up in a Range Rover, and that wasn't money that I earned from the church.
Right.
Okay, so that ain't.
Nope, it's the same, because guess what? Let's look at TD Jakes. TD Jakes got books, he got movies, he got all of these businesses around. So you can't just blanketly judge and say that this is the money that came from what he earned with the church. It's not about humility. It's about what you have. You can't say he's living above his means, because guess what? If he's making 3 or 4, I don't know how much he makes. I don't know what his net worth is, but somebody Google it real quick. Whatever his net worth is, if his net worth is $5 or $6 million, he's earned that. We don't know how much that came from the church. How much?
20 million.
His net worth is 20 million. Why can't he drive in a Rolls Royce? And he got movies, he got books, and the majority of what he made probably came from his books.
Let
me just say it this way. It's not our business.
It is our business.
No, it's not.
It is our business.
How is
you
that?
just said that you have all of that because of us. So how is it not our business? I didn't think you have all that because of us.
I said if the majority of his wealth came from real estate, came from movies.
Yeah, and see, you got off on a tangent. I was still talking about the 400, the 30,000 giving 25 a Sunday. Okay, and then all of that is cool. All that is cool. My question to any of the pastors that's doing this: why are you guys pulling up in y'all's Rolls Royces again? Why are you guys pulling up in a Rolls Royce to a church that needs to be renovated? Why are you guys pulling up in a Rolls Royce where members are suffering? Why are you guys pulling up in a Rolls Royce when the community around you does not reflect the Rolls Royce?
I see what she's saying.
Why is that? Why are you a man of God? Because I don't care what the athlete or the doctor did. The God did not call the athlete. God did not call the athlete or the doctor to
Let me tell you this. Let me tell you this.
Where she's coming from, though.
Let me tell you this.
Are you saying, or is she saying that why the man of God is not giving that money back to the people?
No, that's not what I'm saying either.
No, but
that's not what I'm saying.
She's saying that it's okay for the athlete and the doctor and the stars and the celebrities to do it because they're not a preacher. She's specifically saying that because he's the man of God, that he should be more humble than that.
Humility.
No,
Oh,
that's
no,
not
no.
fair. That's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair.
That's a double
That's
Yeah,
not.
standard.
that's
double
yeah, that's a
Okay,
double.
okay, okay.
That's,
I get where she's coming from, though.
I
I
understand
get
what
it,
you mean.
but that's not
I understand
fair.
what you mean.
Hold on, let me get through.
But
Let me get
what
through.
what
Hold on,
what
hold
if?
on, hold on, hold on. Let me
Okay,
get
go
through. Let
ahead.
me get
Go ahead.
through.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna get through, and then I'm gonna let y'all talk. Y'all can't tell me that y'all are not going to be humble with my money and still talk for an hour and 43 minutes and tell me to give y'all my money. Y'all are not going to be able to tell me what to give to the church when the church is saying, when you give it, when you give it to the church, you have no say so. I understand that. When I'm giving to God or when I'm giving to the church, I don't have no say so. Okay. But if I'm seeing things and I'm also paying for these things, you cannot take my money and tell me to shut up. And then you show me everything that you're doing and I see what you're not doing, but then you still tell me to still give this money and still shut up.
Beyonce do the same thing.
Oh my God.
Beyonce do the same thing.
Beyonce did
I'm gonna shut
what?
up. I'm gonna let y'all talk.
Okay, yes.
Y'all
Probably
talk
good.
together.
I can't.
If you
Y'all
go,
talk
listen,
together.
if
Wait.
you go to a Beyonce concert and pay your money,
Yes.
and she goes out and gets a Rolls Royce and does what
Yes.
she wants to do and tell you, it's the same thing.
No, it's not.
It's the,
Yes,
Why
it
are
is.
y'all?
it's the same thing.
I
Definitely
It
is.
is. It's literally the same.
I just can't. Okay, this
It's
is just
literally
me
the
then. This
same.
is just
It's the
me
exact
then.
same thing.
Because I'm not putting my preacher in the same category as these celebrities, even if my preacher has the same amount of money as these celebrities. I expect my preacher to have a little bit more of God and a little bit more of these other things.
Key, that's such a double standard.
I don't know. I don't know. And then now I'm talking, and now I see that I'm one of the niggas that I was talking about in the beginning of the show. I see that now. Cause heck no. Cause you're not about to do all that with my money, and I'm just sitting here finna continue to pay it, and I ain't saying nothing.
Okay,
That's
let me
But that's
a
the
choice.
same thing that
That's
Travian
your
was
choice,
just
though.
saying. How can
That's
you
your
give your
choice.
money to Beyonce and then she go, "Hey, my concert's canceled, but you're not getting a refund," compared to a pastor who's
It's the
doing
same
who you're
thing.
giving the money to, and he's not saying shut up, but he's going around and blessing himself because he's already pouring into you. Beyonce didn't give a crap about you, and he's not giving you anything. She's not giving you anything back. She canceled her concert and is not giving you a refund. The pastor literally will give you something back.
Taylor,
what?
You making too much sense. Shut your mouth.
Somebody else keep talking.
It's getting
Y'all
good.
keep talking.
It's the
Come
same.
on, it's
Hold
the same.
Unplugged,
I
ladies
didn't
and
think
gentlemen.
it was such a double standard, though.
Hold on. I gotta give
It's the
Christian
same
some
thing.
space because she been having trouble all the time. She been ready to say something. Let's get it. Why she here? Let's get something.
You better get in where you fit in, sis, because
my camera keep going out or something's going on with my microphone. Like I don't know what's going on. I think it's the devil trying to just keep me from saying something. I don't know.
Speak your truth.
I was just basically gonna say what they were gonna say. I'm gonna like wait and talk when somebody else starts talking because
you better get in where you fit in.
I was just gonna say.
You better jump
I'm
in.
about to say you better go
You better
forward.
jump in, or you ain't gonna say nothing
Double
until the
dutch.
final benediction.
It's like double dutch. You gotta wait on the side and jump in that thing.
coming from a preacher's daughter, like we were high middle class, and I feel like it's more so not just with the preacher. I don't think people really understand, like, how do I say it?
And that's
What
not
you
for
put out into
everybody.
the universe is what you get back. Like, if you're meditating, I feel like it's more so like what you do too. Like, the preacher,
It's a sowing and
how do I
reaping
put
principle.
this?
Come down the canal. Come on.
Yeah, it's like
There we go.
I feel like everybody has a chance to live the way that they want to live lavishly, because they have that chance to make that happen for themselves. And most preachers, like he said, have second jobs, especially in communities, like in the middle class community. I can't really speak on Bishop Jakes. He paid his dues. but he paid his dues.
Mm-hmm.
These preachers
He's
that
been
are
around since
middle
forever.
class,
He had a small
they're
church.
paying their dues as well. So why shouldn't they? They have
Enjoy.
jobs, regular jobs now in society. They're preaching, and they're still going to see, missing time with their families to go see about everybody else's family.
Ooh, wait. Sorry, you triggered something in my soul. You triggered something in my soul. Wait.
And
We
As a
don't
pastor's
see our
daughter,
parents.
as a pastor's daughter, I'm so
We
sorry.
don't
Yes.
see our parents.
Tag
They make
tag
more
team.
sacrifices.
Let me tell you how many nights I have not seen my dad because he was out in the church.
Same.
Let me tell you how many nights
Same.
I couldn't my dad was not home because somebody in the community called. I always thought, and this was when I was younger, I always thought it was church, then family. But when I tell you it was always family, then church, but because the community, that pull that the community has on my dad, that's what it was. My dad works 3 jobs and still pastors and is homeless right now. My father is homeless and is still out in the community.
Wow.
And is still pastoring to a community that couldn't give a rat's behind. But his call is over the city of Vallejo. And he is pouring so much into his community. And guess what? Every Sunday, I talk to that man. Every time I need him, that man answers the phone. He pours into his community. So the idea of, and if he for a second were to like, you know what, I'm taking this time for myself because I'm pouring into everybody else and don't have time. That's why my dad almost died from COVID. That's why my dad caught it a second time, because he was out in the community.
Wow.
Because he did not have time for himself. So when he gets a chance to finally sit his black behind down, guess what? We are all like, stay there.
He deserves a Rolls Royce.
Stay there. If he decides to go out and buy a truck because that's what he loves, because that's what his second job paid for, guess what he gets to do with that money that he worked damn hard for? Buy a truck. That's not my business nor anybody else's.
Listen, there was a saying once that somebody said this once about preachers. It said these are the prayers. This is sometimes what members are praying for. God, if you keep them humble, we'll keep them broke. Like, so many people think that. Now watch this. Now I understand what let me say this. I understand what you're saying, Kiana.
No, y'all don't.
Let me finish. Let me finish. I think it's very distasteful for someone to excessively display their prosperity when they have done nothing to pour into other people's poverty. Okay, but let me say this. Let us be very careful. And this is the same. You can ask Chris. These are the same words I said to Chris. Let's be careful of how we judge those who we have no access to.
Hello.
Because we don't know how much good they have actually done in their community. We don't know how much they've taken their prosperity and dumped into other people's poverty. We do not know.
Right.
So if they were good managers of their money, and they've given back, they've done philanthropy work, they've done they've mentored children. Let's go back to TD Jakes. TD Jakes has built housing communities in that old area of like the whole Mountain View area in Dallas. Like, he's taken projects and refurbished them and rebuilt like all of these places to give people decent places to live. Right? He's done a lot of those great things. Not saying that he's this great man, or he's done everything right. I don't know him, right? But look at this. Look at what's public information. You can see that these people, these guys. Let's take another one. He's always in the spotlight. Why? Because of Giselle, right? But let's look at Jamal Bryant.
Just Giselle? Okay.
That's not what we're talking about right now.
Mm.
but let's look at Jamal Bryant. When I look at
what church does he have?
He's at New Birth in Lithonia.
Yeah.
He's
on the corner.
Yeah, he's in Stone Mountain. Yeah. So let's look at what they do. They have something called Heaven's Table or something. They feed thousands and thousands of people in the community every Saturday morning. Right? They take up shoes to give children in the community brand new pairs of shoes to go back to school. They're giving away shoes and backpacks, free haircuts, all of these different types of things, right?
I use him as a food bank resource when I'm like helping my families.
Absolutely. Because they're active and thriving in their community. Guess what? He's pouring back into that community. Forget, we can judge his personal lifestyle all we want to. But that's between him and God. But look at the work that ministry is doing. A couple years ago, they took people that, and I've gotten some very good ideas from just following his ministry. They took people who have been in common law marriages and people who've been shacking up for years, trying to help them live holy lives, right? Told church members to bring their old wedding dresses, bring their old tuxedos, donate them to these couples. They had a mass wedding on a Sunday where they married like 15 or 20 or probably more than that couples at one time. Everything was donated to them. This is ministry. This is trying to get people to live righteously. But guess what they have that the small churches don't have?
Yeah.
They have resources and infrastructure.
Yeah.
So guess what? When this preacher pulls up in a black SUV with a driver, guess what? Good for him. He needs that time, because guess what? I've already told y'all, I want to drive on Sunday mornings, because guess what? You see what I do every Sunday morning. And when I get up in the pulpit, I am tired, because I've been managing media. I've been trying to make sure this computer's working. I've been trying to make sure my son isn't running all over the place. I've been trying to make sure people actually are where they supposed to be. I picked up this person, or I have to go drive across town to pick up this person. Because guess what? I don't have somebody who we can even go pick up a kid. So guess what? When I'm able to get a driver, guess what I'm going to have? A driver. So guess what? I can be focused on the word of God from the time I wake up on Sunday morning to the time I step in that pulpit. I don't have to worry about traffic. I don't have to worry about getting there. I can be so locked in to the word of God and be at peace. You're going to see a different preacher. I guarantee you will. But people don't see all of that pressure behind the scenes. My dad was home every night, but I never had access to him.
Ooh. Hello? That part. That part.
Oh, didn't.
Ever.
Well, nope.
So tell me, as a young man, as a preacher's kid, my dad was a preacher, a police officer, and a school teacher at the same time.
That's community right there.
I needed my father.
Ooh.
There were certain conversations that I didn't have with my dad as a child. Guess what? I had to figure it out as a man.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't.
He did what he knew was right. Because guess what? We have this complex that as a man of God, if I don't put the church first, I'm not putting God first. Y'all missed that.
I didn't.
If I'm not putting the church first, I'm not putting God first. Because God says if you choose mother or father or sister or brother before me, you're not worthy of me. So we say, okay, guess what, God? You called me to this ministry. So guess what? I have to put this first, because if I don't put this first and you call me to this, I'm not honoring you. Ask my 10-year-old son what we do every Saturday. Ask him how many hours we're at the building getting ready for Sunday. Last Saturday took me 6 hours. Saturday before that took me 6 hours. This past Saturday took me 4 hours. What do you think a 10-year-old wants to do on a Saturday?
Oh, they want to
play.
Not be in a church building with his father because he has minimal help. And then people have the audacity to fix their mouth when they say, well, you always traveling, you did on this plane and living, and you in this penthouse, or you in this hotel, or you think you something because you only stay in Marriott and Hilton. You're absolutely right. Because I travel so much, I need to make sure I'm comfortable when I'm away from my family.
And some pastors don't even get that luxury.
But also, as a church member, you have that same choice to live a luxurious lifestyle too.
Bingo.
So if you point a finger at somebody that's doing what they may feel is what they want, they have the same choice. You got the exact same choice. And you can touch as many people as your preacher is.
All the decisions.
If not more. So but I do see where she's coming from, but I'm just saying, for me, as taking hindsight,
right?
It's like, why am I mad at what he has when I can do the same thing he or she can do too?
Is doing anyway.
Hold on.
It's just that I'm not a preacher, so I can pull up too. I'm just not a preacher.
Let me surmise it by saying this. We all need to do a better job extending more grace to each other.
There we go.
Because I should be more gracious to you because of where you are, but also the man of God. Because guess what? The same salvation that you need from God is the same salvation I need. The same grace from God that you need is the same grace I need. The same mercy, same mercy. Same hope, same hope. Let me say it this way. There's not going to be a pastor section in heaven.
Yes, sir.
It's not. So for those who think they go to church to pay for a sermon, you're not. What you are doing though, you're being respectful of the man of God's time that he spent preparing for you to show up. Because I can tell you how I feel when I spend 6 hours preparing for a service and people don't show up. I can tell you how that feels.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you this. Would you do it?
That's where I was going to go.
Well,
go ahead. Hold up. Go ahead.
Well, according to you, I have a vagina, so I wouldn't be called to do it anyway.
Would you let somebody misuse your time, not value your time in anything? How you doing?
No.
How you do everything, right?
No.
Exactly.
I mean, but you can't. If God is telling you to waste your quote unquote waste your time,
it's not wasting time though.
It's not.
That's what
Okay.
he said. Don't use the words he said.
Okay.
He didn't say waste time though.
Okay, what do you say? Well, preach to nobody. If God is telling you to preach and don't nobody show up, then I mean.
But you still do what God's telling you to do.
I still preach. And I preach if it's 200. I preach if it's 2. I still preach.
So what
I'm saying is understand the value that the majority of the men of God display.
Majority. Good job.
There's virtue that comes from us with the sacrifices that we make. There's things that I sacrifice weekly to make sure that people go to heaven?
It reminds me a lot of entrepreneurship. If you like you
In the
begin
beginning,
small and then it works its way to where it needs to be. It's
Mhm.
the same thing. Like if you're an entrepreneur, you're wanting your business to grow, and it's the same with church. And then you once the fruits of your labor grow, you start seeing those fruits come back. Like planting something, watching it harvest, and getting that back. Like you deserve anybody as well as preachers deserve that. If you are planting seeds, expect for whatever the outcome is to come back to you.
I'm gonna be the first person to eat of my fruit that I planted.
Because I got to make sure that it's good.
That's what you
It's not
planted
even about.
for.
It's not even about making sure that it's good. I labored over it. It's me first. I put you first, so that you can be better than where you were. So now when the harvest comes in, I eat. I eat last, but I eat best. Is there anything wrong with that? No. Absolutely not.
If I taught you how to fish,
Come on.
should I not go enjoy my buffet?
Come on.
That's at my table?
Come on.
When I equipped and empowered, not just equipped, but empowered.
And every great leader had to follow something. They had to. How else would you know how to lead if you didn't know what to follow? I mean, it just makes sense to me. But I don't know if being humble, I think we get that misconstrued sometimes.
Say
Like,
it, sir. Say it, sir.
being humble doesn't always mean you don't need to do what other people think you should or shouldn't.
It's the attitude behind it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
100%.
doesn't mean that you got to be in poverty.
Or
It
look
don't.
like
Can I put an end to all this? Because
Of course.
I figured y'all didn't hear what I said. I figured y'all was triggered. At the beginning.
I was. I'm sorry.
At the beginning, I said I have a problem with pastors pulling up in Rolls Royces off the congregation's money when the congregation does not, the congregation still looks a certain way. And everything is coming from the congregation, but the pastor is looking, the pastor is looking like this. It's looking this grandiose. And the members don't look like that. And we know that the pastor,
and that's his only stream of income.
We know that's his only stream of income. Which how do we know? But we know because we're talking about these small churches. Because we not ain't no mega pastor pulling up in one of these bad communities. We are talking about these pastors for the people. All I'm saying is, if you are the pastor of the people, then help the people. That is all I'm saying. Before you go buy the Rolls Royce, or before you go buy 5 mansions, make
Pour
sure
back into your community
that your community is straight. That's all I'm saying.
Fair.
That is
all. But will that be enough though?
Wait. Kristen? What?
I said teach them how to maintain that, because you have to be a pastor that teaches your congregation how to manifest and maintain the manifestation and be on a certain vibration to continue to receive it. Then we all eat and we all win.
That is all I'm saying.
But you know what that causes for? Because it's not on the pastor anymore.
Yes.
It's then on the congregation to be able to go and take what's being taught and apply. And I'm here to tell you.
Because it's then a bad leader if he's doing all of this grandiose thing and not teaching his people, this is how I got
it. That's it right there.
Yes.
Make sure it's
fair.
taught.
I
That's
completely
it.
agree
Make
with
sure
you.
it's being. That's it.
If it's being taught and then they're not moving on it, hey,
Hold on.
Is it being
Hold on.
taught,
Hold on.
or
Time out.
am I just
Time out.
taking mine and
Time
pulling
out.
up in mine?
Time out.
Okay. I'll see. I see what she.
You know what happens most of the time?
Jesus,
I can prove it. I can show you better. I can show you better. I can tell you.
Please show me.
I can schedule. I can schedule a financial literacy class sponsored by New Heights at our meeting facility and watch how many people show up.
Not that many. Let me know, probably.
I got real estate agents. I got real estate agents right now ready to come do classes on buying homes. Credit people ready to come talk about how to fix your credit. How many people are going to actually show up? Because guess what? We've done it before. Guess what? Some of us we tried. We started having like what did we call it? We started having like fitness classes and stuff at the church because people was talking about we want to lose weight and we want to be healthy and all this stuff like that. Guess how many people showed up?
Nobody shows up. That's the wild part. That's the wild part. You do all this stuff for the community because that's what they're asking for. People don't want to do things for themselves. They want a handout. They want somebody to hand them the money and say, here you go. Here's your blessing. No. Faith without works is dead. If you don't get your big money and do what you're supposed to be doing.
We had Coastal Family Health. We had Coastal Family Health to come park their big, gigantic RV bus on our property to do free health screenings for the community. Guess how many people registered and showed up?
Ain't no way.
Come on.
We were giving out backpacks. We had to go drive around to find people to give backpacks to.
I blame the people at this point.
That's what I'm saying. Like
we were giving free food to the community.
What I said earlier.
Come on, you was out there, Kiki. We were giving free plates and prayer Wednesday, first Wednesday of the month. We're feeding the community. All you gotta do is pull up and get a plate.
Right.
How many people showed up? So guess what? If the Lord blesses me, now the moral of the story is I can't buy a Rolls Royce. Okay, so I'm gonna buy a Maserati, and I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna buy a Bentley, and I'm gonna pull up. You said Rolls Royce because guess what? If the Lord blesses me, and I know that I've tried to bless the people,
and the people ain't doing what they supposed to be.
They got nothing to say.
There's a level of accountability that you can't just like throw off on the church. The people have to do their work too. The people have to show up. The church themselves can't just sit there, please, sir, give me more, when I was sitting there trying to give you what God had me to give you, and you were like, that's not what I asked for.
Hold on.
I got another one. It's not wrapped the way I wanted it to be wrapped. It's not.
Instead of me.
Come out. I got another one.
Come here, man.
How about this? How about not only the people don't show up, but the congregation don't show up?
Not the people. Those are the people.
There's people.
I'm talking about the community. I'm talking about the community don't show up.
But neither does the congregation.
Neither does the congregation. You know why the congregation? You know why the community don't show up? Because they watch how the congregation don't show up.
Come on.
We train them not to show up. Because guess what? If the congregation doesn't show up, that means that even the people that actually attend that ministry don't see value in it. So the people that's outside looking in don't see the value.
And the congregation is supposed to be the ones bringing in the community anyway.
So instead of me being a part of the community or congregation saying, why is Pastor pulling up in the Rolls Royce? I will be asking myself, how? How is he doing that? What do I need to do to be doing that too? Because I can pull up the Sunday service in my own Rolls Royce too.
Come on.
Because that's what
they say. It's a saying: if you point the finger, you got three of them pointing right back at you.
And let's just be real. We're talking about something that's really shallow, really surface level, right? We're talking about something materialistic. But when it comes to somebody's soul being saved,
It's priceless.
when it comes to
Can be
true
bought.
deliverance and healing, when that's actually in the house and people of the house ain't respecting the house
Come on, sir.
and they're not filling up the house or packing the house and they're saying that's on pastor, what really can we say? How do we? Yeah, you have the right to use your money as you please, but how much skin do you really have in the game to have too much of something to say?
Mm-hmm. And you know the funny thing, you say that some of the people that complained about the Range Rover are the ones that don't give.
Yeah,
That's my whole thing.
They don't even.
That's what
You complain. Oh, he's spending the church money on.
It ain't your money because you're not putting nothing in the
$1 every Sunday.
Bro, we had a member who wrote a check for $5.
a check.
It costs more to print that check.
Check.
What you put on
You
it?
should have kept that.
Wait a
No
minute,
offense.
no, wait a minute, no. Because
That's
what
all
if
they
they
that's what you
had?
can
had.
give.
That's
Wait.
all they had, 'cause that's what they had.
That ain't the only thing they had.
Last 5 days.
I was just about to say.
That ain't what
If
they
that's
had.
what you could give.
What if that
Give
five
it.
If that's
was
what you
only
can
5 they
give.
had?
That ain't what they had.
How
That's
do
how
you
they
know?
manage their
Is
money.
that your assumption, or is that what
How
you
do
know?
you know?
Oh, I
No,
know
no,
that.
no, no, no,
I know
no,
this.
no, no, no.
I know
Because
this.
come on, hold on. It's a shame to be an adult and not have the ability and capacity to manage your money properly so that you give something worthwhile.
Hold
And I'm
on.
gonna tell you this
Hold
because
on.
you spent more than $5 on your meal
Hold on.
multiple times throughout the week,
Let's not.
and you getting fed something. Oh, my bad. Go ahead. I'm
Women lie.
overthinking.
Men lie. Numbers don't.
Numbers don't lie.
If you work at McDonald's, you work full time at McDonald's. How much McDonald's pay an hour?
Probably like 11.
10, 15, 10 now. 10, 15.
Yeah, they've changed over the time. They've changed over time, but the average is
They
about
ain't
10.
paying what Chick-fil-A paying. I know that much.
Guess who works at McDonald's? High school kids.
Yeah,
First time jobs.
yeah.
Let's say you work 40 hours at McDonald's.
That's
$400 a week.
That is.
What's 10% of 400?
$40.
Oh, okay.
That's what I said in the beginning.
And the people that
only
were given the
10%.
$5
It's only
retired from a career. Retired from a career.
Let's not go into money management because
You
That's
know what?
definitely a subject
That's
they don't
where
teach us in school.
that's where we start stepping in as men of God and saying, you know what? This is what I taught the congregation a few years ago, that the church does a good job of focusing on the eternal spiritual need. But every person that I minister to, I see that there are different needs. We have this is what I want people that's listening to me tonight to understand it. Every person that we encounter that we talk about evangelizing or witnessing to, they have a permanent physical need, or they have a temporary physical need. They have a soulish need, they have a permanent spiritual need, and they have desires. We only tend to by and large, the church only tends to the permanent spiritual need. We don't deal with the temporary physical need. We don't deal with the soulish need. People need to feel loved. They want to feel like they belong. They want to be told that they've done a good job. That they want their soul to be massaged, right? To be attended to, right? And then people have desires. People want some of the desires of their heart too. So I believe holistically, as the people of God, we should, because God doesn't want us to work our whole lives on this job and then die. He created the garden for peace.
Yeah.
He created a place for man to dwell in abundance and live at peace, have joy, be in harmony with him. Right? So poverty doesn't represent God.
Hello.
Poverty doesn't represent God. abundance represents God.
Uh-huh.
So if we're in poverty, that means somewhere along the line we chose improperly and we have not taken the necessary next steps to choose better. It's gonna be a process, but many people accept their position because of the previous decisions that they made and not willing to do the work to get out of it.
That's exactly what I was trying to say earlier.
So we want to teach people to we want to holistically better people. Temporary physical need, soulish need, desires, and permanent spiritual need. That's what we want to target. But guess what? I said it a few minutes ago, but we were all talking. You can take a horse to water, but you can't make him think. And you can take a fool to college, but you can't make him think. I can tell you all day long that there's only one way to get to heaven, and that is through Jesus Christ. He says, Jesus said, no man cometh unto the Father but by me. If you don't believe that, you can't get to God. Period. But guess what? People want to argue. Well, you know what? I don't like that. That sounds too narrow-minded, or it doesn't sound this, or it doesn't sound that. That's the word of God.
Yeah.
That's what God said in his word. So guess what? Because we don't agree with the man of God, we feel like we don't need the man of God. And then we devalue the man of God because of what we've seen other people do. And I told this to my Timothy collective, the young preachers that I train. I told them this last week. I said, listen, there are three types of preachers. Y'all remember this. There are three types of preachers. It's the preacher who God called to preach. It's the preacher who called himself to preach. And it's the preacher that the people call to preach. The one that called himself to preach, he's going to do everything for himself. He's going to do everything to be perseverant, right? The man that the people call to preach, he's going to do everything to please the people. But the man that God called to preach, he's the one that deserves all of those things that people say that he don't deserve.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that is. I like how you did that right there.
That's why he went boy.
Bless God.
Mr. Carlos.
Mr. Carlos.
Y'all, we coming up on 2.5 hours, man. We gotta let the people go tonight.
Good discussion.
Hungry.
Good discussion. Definitely unplug some things tonight.
Plug it back. Try to be killing me with these one-liners, dog.
They're called Travianisms. That's really what it is, man. We gotta put it in Webster, bro.
Travian.
Yeah, I said too. I would like to make my own thesaurus or dictionary or something one day.
You should definitely do that.
And I got a lot.
I would buy it. I would buy that.
Wait, you said you want to do what?
Have my own, like, you don't have to be a big, stupid, thick one, but it could be like a thesaurus or a dictionary or something.
A thesaurus.
Because some words mean the same thing.
Hey,
anyway.
don't get the juice away. Hey, you say what you meant. Don't even worry about it. So in closing,
y'all leave that boy alone, man. Y'all coming for his head.
That's my brother.
Hey, when you put your thesaurus and your book out of what you say, Sonny? How you say it?
Travianisms.
Yeah. Your Travianisms collection out, I'm gonna buy it.
But you want to know the crazy thing about that?
I wanted just to have it in the
it's
collection.
All holy.
No,
like
y'all
I'm just
y'all was laughing.
Rolodex through it.
It's all godly though.
I'm a laugh and I'm a support. Tell me when not to laugh.
I'm gonna buy it full price.
Amen. Yeah, don't be asking for no discounts.
Nah.
Let's speak on that for a second, though.
Oh, God.
Oh, okay.
I thought this was a benediction.
It is the benediction. Stop trying to get your Christianity at a discount price. Pay for
Good night. That's all, folks.
That
that is all, folks.
that is us
We've
plugging it in and taking it back out.
That ain't what that is. That ain't what that
That's
is.
a whole nother conversation.
Oh my god.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, man. This is only
Love
That ain't
y'all,
what
man.
it is.
only a New Heights, man. Only a New Heights.
Only love y'all, man.
All right, so are we doing closing remarks tonight? Or we through?
Say the prayer. We done said enough
Say the
remarks.
prayer.
I ain't even gonna lie, I'm done.
I'm
One
Nigga
time.
done.
talking to me, it's nothing.
Shoot, I'm up here fighting for persecution I don't even believe in. Look, you got me fighting for the opposite case. I'm tired. Come
Tired.
on.
Yeah, I'm tired out.
Look, if you're gonna own it, you gotta own it, man.
I
You
did.
took the devil's advocate part. You gotta.
Yeah, she said, let me play devil's advocate.
I did. And I'm tired. Come on.
And I'm tired.
Working them demons out. Come on.
He said, I'm just like the niggas I was talking about. Ooh, that was funny.
That was
I thought I was, but y'all was confusing me. I knew my initial point, what I first said, but then y'all kept talking, and then I kept talking. I ain't like them.
Yeah.
I'm right. But
Yeah.
y'all just
I
kept
ain't like
talking. I ain't like them, but y'all just kept talking, and I just had to say something. It's just the way I am. But I know better. I ain't got no demons.
With that,
Okay.
folks, we appreciate having you here for Growth Group Unplugged on tonight, this third episode of season 3. If you enjoy the conversation, man, y'all like, y'all subscribe, y'all share. If you are in the greater Gulf Coast area, Sundays at 10 a.m., pull up 648 Beach Boulevard, Sunday service by New Heights. It's a vibe. We're going higher in the Lord. You're going to be blessed by the word. You're going to enjoy the common fellowship of the assembly with like-minded people. We have fun, but we also honor and give reverence to God. We'll see you back here next week, same time, same place, same grace in the same space. This has been that was for you, Trent. New Heights Unplugged. New Heights Growth Group Unplugged. Remember, love ain't love until it's shown. So get out there and spread the love that God has shown us. Good night, everybody.